as you can see in the first part of our video, where we were solving the Westminster University's real exam that was given in 2025, we've solved up to problem number 14. Now we'll be solving starting from problem number 15 to 28. So stay tuned and watch. So as you can see here, problem number 14 says the right triangle ABC is given. So this is A, B, and C. AC is equal to 3 over 2 AB. AC, this, okay, let me write that as well. AC is equal to 3 over 2 AB. AB. If the quadrilateral AFED is a square, the square means that all these sides are equal. The area of the shaded region, the area of the square, is what fraction of the area of triangle ABC? So we need to find the area of AFED, AFED divided by ABC here. Okay, in order to do that, let's say that AC, this whole part is just let's just call that, you know, X. Okay, this whole thing is just X. Okay, and if that's X, the AB, if we put instead of AC, AB is going to be equal to, if we do this, let me write that as X is equal to 3 over 2 AB. Let's find AB here. AB is going to be equal to 2 over 3x. So this side AB is 2 over 3x. Okay, we don't really need that part. Okay, we don't really need that, just for me. Okay, so in this case, in order to find the area of the square, we need to make sure that we know the sides of the squares, okay, of this, you know, side of the square. So let's just say that the side of a square is just some number y. Let's just call that y. Okay, y and y. So based on that, we can say that the area of a square is just y squared. Now let's try to find the area of ABC. The area of ABC is going to be equal to, because it's a right triangle here, is going to be 1 over 2, the first side, 2 over 3x times the second side, x. That's going to give us 2 and 2 is going to reduce. That's just going to give us x squared divided by 3. And as you can see here, the problem here is that the answers are given as whole numbers. But here we have y squared and x squared divided by 3. And based on that, how can we choose the answer? To do that, let's try to make sure that we know what is y in terms of x, or what is x in terms of y. Okay, for that, just write y squared divided by the triangle is going to be x squared divided by 3. So for now, we'll just leave it like that and make sure that we understand. And to do that, we need to use the similarity of triangles. Because we said that AD, the side of the square, is equal to y, this side, DC, is going to be the whole AC minus AD, which makes it this x minus y. When it comes to BF, this is basically 2 over 3x minus y. You see? Let me take that in bracket. Let me take that in bracket. You see, this. Okay, and in this case, the triangle, the big triangle, let's just say that this is y as well. Let me do that. This is also y. This is also y in this case. Okay. So in this case, what we can do is the triangle BFE and the triangle EDC are similar because this angle, let's just call this angle alpha. This is also alpha. This angle is beta. This angle is beta. These two angles, all three angles are similar to each other. That's why we can say that BF, let me write that BF, this side, divided by the side ED is equal to EF divided by the side DC. Based on that, because we know that the triangles BFE, the triangles BFE is similar to the triangle EDC. Now we can find x in terms of y. And to find the x in terms of y, what we can do is use this BF divided by ED. What is BF? That's basically just 2 over 3 x minus y, this divided by this side, which is just y divided by y, whereas this side EF, where is EF? EF, this is y divided by this side. Well, actually you can do it, you can actually do it easier. Instead of dividing it by using this, let's just do this, okay? Let's use the similarity on this small triangle and the big triangle. That's going to be easy. So BF divided by AB is going to be equal to, okay, let's just FE divided by AC. Okay, let's try that. BF, which is equal to 2 over 3x minus y, divided by AB, which is just equal to 2 over 3x, is going to be equal to FE, which is just y, divided by AC, which is just x. Okay, as you can see, we have this kind of thing. So because we can reduce this x, you can reduce it actually. So now let's write that, cross multiply. So we're going to have 2 over 3 x minus y is going to be equal to cross multiply 2 over 3 times y is going to be 2 over 3 y. Let's give a common denominator here. The common denominator is going to be just 3. So now what you can write here is just 2x minus 3y is equal to 2y. Because here you give a common denominator of 3. So you can write the answer as 2x times is equal to 5y. So now we can find the x in terms of y. And you can write it as x is equal to 5y divided by 2. Because now we know that x is equal to 5y over 2, we can insert it here. Okay, so that's going to be just y squared divided by x squared is going to be 5y over 2 squared and divided by 3. Now we have to, calculate this ugly thing. So to write that, you just write it as y squared divided by squared it, 25y squared divided by 4 and divided by 3. One more time. Okay, so that's just going to be, if you write that, is going to be 3y squared divided by 25y squared divided by 4, and if you divide that, y squared and y squared is going to cancel. 3 divided by 25 over 4 is going to be 12 over 25. That has to be your answer. Because in this case, the calculations are pretty big, I suggest you to rewatch the video and make sure that you understand where like each of the things came from. So the answer is, in this case, is D. Let's continue to the next problem. Problem number 6. SAT — это не просто экзамен, а шанс открыть двери в самые лучшие университеты мира. А путь к высоким результатам начинается не со страху, а с правильной подготовки. В Real Science мы не просто готовим к SAT, мы учим думать, анализировать и решать задачи стратегически. Каждый урок — это практика, реальные тесты, разбор ошибок и индивидуальный подход к каждому студенту. Наши преподаватели помогают развить критическое мышление, научиться управлять временем и уверенно проходить даже самые сложные разделы, как математика, reading и writing. Если ты готов идти к результату, Real Science рядом. Подготовься к SAT уверенно и с поддержкой тех, кто знает, как добиться высоких результатов. Начни свой путь сегодня с Real Science, записавшись по номеру в описании. See here that the figure below is the floor planned by an architect for a small concert hall. The stage has depth 8 meters and two walls, each of length 10 meters. If the sitting portion of the hall has an area of 180 meters square, what is the value of x? So this sitting area, this whole thing, is equal to 180 meters squared. Okay. Because we have this, let's just call this point A, B, C. We have this triangle ABC. A, B, C. And then we have this height. And 10, 10, because it is an equilateral triangle, and this is 8 as well, we know that these two sides are equal to each other. And if we use the Pythagorean theorem, that's going to be just, let's just call this side x. 8 squared plus x squared is going to be equal to 10 squared. So x in this case is going to be just 6. So if this is 6 and this is 6 as well, the whole side AC is going to be just 12. So this side 12 AC multiplied by x, so 12 multiplied by x is going to give me this whole area, which is equal to 180, which makes x, the 160 divided by 5, 15. So the answer is just going to be C, as you can see. Well, this one is pretty easy. It says, which of the following ordered pairs of x, y satisfies the system of inequalities given, where we're given this one and this one. Okay, what you can do is just try to insert some numbers that are given in the multiple choice here, which basically just saves our time. Okay, so let me rewrite that. Y is less or equal to 3x plus 1. X minus 1 is equal to more than 1. Okay, the system of inequalities. Let's just, because we know that minus 2 and minus 1 is given as x, y pair, we can insert minus 2 instead of x here, minus 1 instead of y here, and check whether it satisfies the inequality or no. If it satisfies the inequality, that means that this is an answer. Okay, so let's just try to insert that. Instead of y, we put minus 1, less or equal to 3 times. Instead of x, we put minus 2 plus 1. That's going to give us minus 1 less or equal to minus 6 plus 1. Minus 1 is less or equal to minus 5. And because we know that the minus 5 is not more or equal to than minus 1, we know that A is not the answer. Okay? You can basically check the B, C, and D in the same way and find out which one is the answer. Okay, let's do that as well. Okay, let's take minus 1 and put it here. Minus 1 and put it here, 3 here. That's going to give us 3 less or equal to 3 times minus 1 plus 1. That's going to give us 3 less or equal to minus 3 plus 1. 3 is less or equal to minus 2. But because we know that 3 is not less or equal to minus 2, it means that B is not our answer. Now let's work with C. Insert 5 here, 1 here. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is going to be 4. But because we know that 4 is not more or equal to 5, C is also not the answer. That's why you choose the answer D. You can check that, whether it's satisfied or not, but because we don't have that much time in the exam, you can, check that if you have time, but other than that, just choose the answer and go right away. 18, solve the question. To solve this kind of question, we divide that into 2 parts. The first part is going to be 1 over 2x plus 4 is going to be equal to 2, positive 2. The second part, 1 over 2x plus 4 is going to be equal to minus 2. You solve the first one, you solve the second one, and then you're going to get the answer. The first one is going to give us minus 4. The second is going to give us minus 12. Okay, that makes C the answer. As you can see, these are pretty easy linear equations. That's why you can just, just do them quickly. Don't spend that much time. Okay, in this case, it says, what is the sum of the measures of the marked angles in the figure below? To do that, okay, let's say that this inner angle is equal to A, this is equal to B, and this is equal to C. Because we know that the whole thing, this whole thing are basically just 3 circles, the measure of them is going to be 3 times 360. But because it says what is the sum of the measures of the marked angles, we don't need this part. You see, I'm removing this part. I'm removing this. This part. Okay, this part, and I'm also removing this part. Okay, so because the interior angle A and this angle A are vertical, they are similar. This is also B, and this is also C. And what is A plus B plus C? A plus B plus C, and it is equal to 180 degrees. To calculate that 180 degrees and to find that, we basically, what do? Minus 180 degrees. 3 times 316 is 1080 minus 100. That's going to give us 900 degrees, which makes C the answer. If x is more than 4, which of the following is equivalent to this expression? This is pretty easy. Let's give a common denominator. Here we have x plus 6. Here we have x minus 4. Let's multiply that now. X squared plus 6x minus 2x plus 8 divided by x minus 4 times x plus 6. 6x minus 2x is going to give us 4x. Then the answer is x squared plus 4x plus 8 divided by, if we multiply this one, x squared plus 2x minus 24.
Уважаемые ученики, уважаемые родители и все те, кому интересна математика. Если вы в следующем году поступаете в Вестминстерский университет и хотите получить грант, то учебный центр Real Science объявляет отличную возможность для вас. Пока остальные ребята в других учебных центрах готовятся 3 раза в неделю по 1,5 часа, учебный центр Real Science готовит своих студентов каждый день с 2 до 8. Если не хотите упустить эту возможность, пожалуйста, приходите и записывайтесь на наши курсы.
Now let's look at this problem. It says David has 2 different methods of commuting to and from university. He either takes the subway, which costs 2.75 per one-way trip, or he takes a taxi, which costs 18.5 per one-way. Last week, he went to university for 5 days, commuting to and from the university each day. If his total travel cost for the week was $74.75, how many times did he take a taxi? Okay, let's say that the number of bus or station, what is given that we have? The subway, yes, not the bus. It's given the subway. number of times that it use. Number of times we use the taxi. David used the taxi. We don't know that, it's unknown. Let's just call that X. And because we know that he went to university 5 days, and one of the important things is because it's given, the sum is given per one way, we can make sure that we get the numbers correct. We should multiply 5 by 2. Why? Because if he went to university 5 days, he is going from home to his study, and from his study to home every day, to 2 commutes basically. So, okay, so that's just gonna give us 10. Okay, and the number of times he used the subway, let's just call that 10 minus x, because the overall number of times he used the taxi, overall number of times he commuted is basically equal to 10. So if the number of times that he used the taxi is just x, the number of times he used the subway is just going to be 10 minus x. Okay, now if we do this, the subway costs 2.75, so that's just going to give us 2.75 times number of times he used the subway, plus 18.5 is the cost of taking a taxi. 18.5 times x is going to give us the whole amount, 74.75. Now we have to solve that. Let's open the bracket. 27.5 minus 2.75x plus 18.5x is going to be equal to 74.75. So in this case, let's send it to the right side. That's going to be just, let me calculate that by hand because you're not going to be given a calculator. 18.5 minus 2.75. Let's just put it 0. It's going to be 5, 7. It's going to be 15.75. So here, if we add these two, it's going to give us 15.75. 15.75x is going to be equal to 74.75 minus 27.5. Okay, that's going to be 74.75 minus 27.5. 5, 2 for here, 7. That's just going to 47.25. 47.25. Then x is equal to, if we divide this, that's just going to give us 3 if I'm not mistaken. So how many times did he take a taxi? The number of taxis is just equal to 3. The answer is therefore B. As you can see, the equation that we've constructed, here are the calculations, because you're not given a calculator as in the SAT. That's why it might be a bit more difficult, to calculate that, and you can easily make an arithmetic error. That's why we just made sure that everything is correct. Let's go to the next one. It is said that line L has the equation y is equal to 3x plus c, and line M has the equation this. For some constants c and d, if the lines are intersected at point P, minus 3 and minus 2, what is the sum of c and d? Okay, let me rewrite both of them. Y is equal to 3x plus c. The second one is 4y minus 3x is equal to 11 minus d. It says if the lines are intersected at point P, minus 3 and minus 2, what we can do here is just, instead of x, we can insert minus 3. Instead of y, we can insert minus 2. Because the point of intersection is the point which satisfies both the first one and the second one. So instead of y, we put minus 2 is equal to 3 times minus 3 plus c. And here as well, instead of y, we put minus 2 minus 3 times. Instead of x, we put minus 3 is equal to 11 minus d. Okay? Based on the first one, we can find the c. Based on the second one, we can find the d. Okay? So let me do that using the red pen. Minus 2 is going to be equal to minus 9 plus c, which makes c is equal to 7. Let's solve the second one. 4 times minus 2 is minus 8 plus 9. So minus d is going to be equal to, let's just d is equal to minus 8 plus 9. It's just 1 minus 10 is equal to 10. So d is equal to 10. Because we need to find their sum, 7 plus 10 is equal to 17, which makes D an answer. Okay, let's continue. It says in the function given k is a constant, if f of 11 is equal to 50, what is the value of f of 13? We're given a function, we can just insert here instead of x the number 11. That's going to give us f of 11 is going to be equal to 2 times 11 squared is 121 minus 14 times 11 plus the number k, and that is equal to 50. 2 times 121 is going to 242 minus 14 times 11 is just 4141 154. It's 154. That's 54 plus k is equal to 50. 242 minus 154 is going to give us just 8. K is just going to 8. 3 minus 5, 8. 88 plus k is just going to be equal to 50. Then the k is equal to minus 38. Okay, now based on that, what is the value of f of 13? Because we know that k is equal to minus 38, now let's find f of 13. F of 13 is going to give us 2 times 13 squared is going to be 169 minus 14 times 13 minus 38. Now let's calculate that. F of 13 is going to give us 2 times 169 is going to be 338 minus 14 times 13 is going to be if 106, sorry, 196 minus 14, 182 minus 38. Because we have a lot of calculations, I'm doing it very quickly. You can, in the exam, you can do it, without rushing and doing that very quickly, because most of the times, although you get the idea correct, you might make a very small mistake. Okay, so that's 300 minus 118. That's going to be 118. Okay, so that's why the answer is A. As you can see, it's 18. Because 338 minus 38 is 300. 300 and minus 182 is going to be 100.
Хотите официально подтвердить свой уровень английского языка, то я могу вам в этом помочь. Я, мистер Изенбет, с опытом преподавания более 3 лет, недавно побывал на официальных экзаменах SEFR и получил сертификат C1. Если вы хотите получить такой же высокий результат, то я приглашаю вас на подготовительные курсы по SEFR в учебный центр Real Science. Почему же именно Real Science? В первую очередь, мы используем аутентичные материалы, которые берутся с официальных источников. Во-вторых, мы гарантируем высокий результат по всем критериям экзамена. В-третьих, конечно же, мы проводим уроки в теплой атмосфере, где любой может найти свое место. И если вы хотите успеть записаться на новые группы по SEFR, то поспешите, ведь места ограничены. Поэтому мы будем вас ждать в учебном центре Real Science.
As you can see here, we have the problem number 24. A number of years ago, Andy purchased $16,000 worth of stock in LTD Corporation. The value in dollars of his stock n years after purchase is given by the function V. If the stock is worth $25,000, now roughly how many years did Andy purchase his stock? Well, basically the function is given and we know the value, which is 25,000. Let's just make it equal to 25,000. 3 zeros are gonna cancel. Then let's send 16 to the right side. Then we have 5 divided by 4 to the power of n is equal to 25 divided by 16. Okay? And in this case, 5 over 4 squared is going to be equal to 25 over 16. That's why the answer of n is going to be equal to 2. The answer is equal to B. Let's move to the next one. Which statement describes the solution of the equation? In order to solve that, let's give a common denominator. Here we have x plus 3, x minus 3. And right away, we need to find the domain. The domain, okay, is x squared minus 9 cannot be equal to 0, meaning that x cannot be equal to plus or minus 0. Positive or negative 3. Now, because we're given a common denominator, we can just write it right away. That's going to give us just 6 is equal to 2x plus 6 minus x plus 3. Now let's just solve that. That's going to give us 6 is equal to 2x minus x 6 plus 6 plus 3. So x is equal to minus 3. But because we know that x cannot be equal to minus 3, what do? We basically just we can say that the answer, there's no answer. The answer does not exist. Okay, the answer does not exist. Okay, let's just go to the next one. Okay. Now we've come to a point where we need to show the solution and also the answer. Basically, we need to write the answers and how we got to the answer. It says in the figure above below, rectangle ABOC is drawing the circle O. If OB is equal to 6, if OB this is equal to 6 and OC is equal to 8, in this case, what is the area of the shaded region? To do that, we need to know the radius, because this arc is 1/4 of the circle. What do? We need to find the radius, and to find the radius, let's just draw this AO. This is our radius, and because we know that it's 8, this is 8, this is 8 and 6. ABO is a right triangle, and therefore AO squared is going to be equal to AB squared plus OB squared. Therefore, AO squared is just AO squared is going to be equal to 64 plus 36, which is 8 squared plus 6 squared. So AO squared is equal to 100, and therefore AO is equal to just 10. Okay. Let's continue. AO is equal to 10 here. So, because now we know the radius, we can find the whole area of this arc, whole area, not just blue area, shaded area, but the whole area. The S of whole thing is just 1/4 PR squared, as in the case, PR squared. So S of whole arc, not the whole thing, is just going to give us 1/4 times P R squared is going to be just 10 squared. So that's just going to give us 25P. So this whole area is just 25. And to find this blue area, we need to subtract the area of whole thing minus area of ABOC. The area of ABOC is just 8 times 6, which is 48. So that's just going to 25P minus 48. That is your answer. Here are the solutions, and here is your answer. This is the way that you're supposed to write in an exam. Okay? Let's continue.
Топовые университеты мира, то тогда пора готовиться к SAT English, чтобы результат говорил сам за себя вместе с Real Science. В нашем учебном центре открываются новые группы по SAT English. Наши занятия — это не просто скучные уроки, а самая настоящая прокачка ваших навыков. Во время наших занятий мы будем разбирать самые сложные задания, также обучаться стратегиям, которые экономят время и дают максимальный балл. Что касается насчет расписания, то занятия будут проводиться 3 раза в неделю, то есть по вторник, четверг и в субботу в 6:30. Вместе мы превратим ваши сомнения в уверенность, а ваши знания в высокий результат. Наша команда Real Science и кроме этого атмосфера нашего учебного центра всегда будут вас сопровождать. Записывайтесь прямо сейчас, ведь места в группах ограничены. Real Science. Здесь начинается ваш путь к будущему.
Let's move to the next one. It says, solve the exponential equation for x. Please provide the details of your solution and answer. To do that, we know that 27 to the power of x can be written as 3 cubed to the power of x is equal to 3 to the power of square root of x. Now let's find the domain as well to make sure that we do not include unnecessary roots. Because we have a square root, what is x? X has to be more or equal to 0. Now let's solve that. 3 to the power of 3x is equal to 3 to the power of square root of x. Because we have the same basis, we can just make these two exponents equal to each other. That's just going to give us 3x is equal to square root of x. Now let's solve this equation. 3x minus square root of x is equal to 0. Let's take a square root of x as a common factor. So what's left? 3 square root of x minus 1 is equal to 0 here. So the first solution is x1 is equal to 0. The second solution, 3 square root of x minus 1 is equal to 0. So square root of x is equal to 1 over 3. And if you square both sides, x is going to be equal to 1 over 9. So because the domain includes both these numbers, the first answer is 0. The second answer is 1 over 9. Let's move to the last problem of this mock test. It's problem number 28. This is also pretty easy. Find the area of a regular dodecagon polygon that has 12 sides, 12 vertices, and 12 angles, with a radius of 5 centimeters to the nearest tenth. Please provide the details of your solution and answer. Although it's not written, as you can see, this and this is A, this is B, this is O, and this is 5 centimeters. Okay, let's find, because this is 5 and this is 5 as well, because it's a regular, we need to find this angle. And to find this angle, because we know the whole circle is 360 degrees, and there are 12 vertices. If we do this, that's going to be 12 angles. We need to divide it by 12, which makes 30 degrees. So this alpha is equal to 30 degrees, the central angle. Okay? And how do we find the area of a triangle AOB? If we know two sides and the angle between them. The formula is 1 over 2 times 5 times 5 times sine of 30 degrees. Okay? So that's just going to give us S of AOB is equal to 1 over 2 times 25 times 1 over 2, which is 1 over 4 times 25, which is 25 divided by 4. But now we have found only the area of one of them. Okay? We need to find the area of a regular dodecagon, the whole thing. So what do? We just multiply it by 12, sorry. 4 and 12 are going to reduce. 3 times 25 is going to give us 75. So here is your solution in 8 marks. 8 marks. So if you have any questions, leave that in the comment. And if you have anything that you did not understand or it was fast, just rewatch the video, rewatch the solution, and try to understand that. Thanks. It was Real Science.